In our first unit, we talked about how rhetoric is the study of what makes something persuasive. But rhetoric is also a quality of a text. It's the persuasive content or persuasive qualities of a text. We use rhetoric to make our ideas persuasive by drawing from the elements of the rhetorical situation, which tells us what will and what will not be persuasive. Style, on the other hand, is the form that ideas are expressed in. We use style to embellish our ideas. It's sort of the packaging that our ideas come in. Style itself is not inherently persuasive. However, stylistic elements are used to enhance persuasive elements in a text through those three means. To really understand the relationship between rhetoric and style, it might help to think of a rhetorical situation as a sailing voyage. The argument that the writer's trying to communicate, that is the cargo that the ship is carrying. It's what the writer is trying to get from point A to point B, which would be from the writer's brain to the audience's brain. Continuing this metaphor, rhetoric would be like the ship that carries the cargo. And since different ships are needed depending on the kind of cargo being carried, the route the ship is taken, and the environment the ship has to travel through, well, that's because rhetoric is situational, right? Different rhetoric is appropriate for different situations. To complete our metaphor, style then would be the various implements and modifications to the ship that help it travel more safely, more expediently, etc. They aren't anything that fundamentally change the ship in any way. They just help it get from point A to point B more easily. Things like rigging for extra sails or a hydraulic rudder system. These things don't change the fundamental nature of the ship, they just help it get where it needs to go. And that's what style is in the study of rhetoric. When trying to analyze the style in a text, it's best to break style down into the three different ways it is used. And those three ways are through word choice, which is the specific wording or phrasing used to communicate an idea, word arrangement, which is the syntactic structuring and ordering of ideas, and lastly, word sound, which is the phonetic sounds words make when they're spoken aloud. A quick note about word sound. The effects of word sound and musical devices like alliteration and assonance and consonance and rhyme, it's a really fascinating area of study. It's really interesting, but there are various vowel and consonant sounds that can actually stir images and emotions in the listener, in the audience. The connection here dives deeply into the relationship between psychology and language. However, as fascinating as the study of word sound is, we won't look at that much at all in this course. And that's because word sound is really only important in genres of literature like poetry, which are meant to be performed aloud. And since we will look at very little poetry in this course and look mostly at the persuasive elements of speeches, letters, essays, and that sort of thing, we're just going to ignore word sound and focus instead on word choice and word arrangement. At this time, go ahead and pause this video and complete the reflection in your interactive lesson notes.